I'm Caroline Collins, and this is Crime Files. Only on Fox, one Houston area neighborhood is cleaning up after what neighbors describe as an out-of-control party weekend at a rental house. Here's Fox 26's Matthew Seedorf.
A New Year's rental home rager flooding this West Houston neighborhood. Loud music and crowds spilling on a Bankside Drive well into Sunday morning.
On 10 to 5 o'clock in the morning with music and everything, and they was arguing outside of the front yard. It looked like over here beside Mardi Gras.
This neighbor hasn't gotten much sleep.
I'm tired.
She says the renters threw a second celebration Sunday night. How many people would you think were there?
For New Year Eve was around over 150 people. They look very young.
Cell phone video shows plates, cups, and cans left behind. The home listed on Airbnb as a rental.
I called the constables, but they passed over here. I saw they passed twice over here, but they didn't.
A spokesperson from Airbnb says they're thankful to the neighbors who reported the issue to us through our neighborhood support line, which allowed us to take action to remove this booking guest from Airbnb. Airbnb bans parties as well as party houses.
I don't want it to happen again. They have to think about because the neighborhood, they disturb, the neighborhood, and that is disrespectful.
Matthew Seedorf, Fox 26 News.
A close call for a Houston area Uber driver. Dashcam video shows a stranger approaching his vehicle while he was picking up a passenger. He believes it was a setup. Fox 26's Sherman DeSalle with the story, only on Fox.
I was scared. I didn't know really what to do, but just to get away.
On December 26 at 3 a.m., Derek Carrera approaches the Brazos Town Center parking lot to pick up an Uber passenger. His two dash cameras show as the female passenger approaches the front of the car, a white vehicle pulls up behind him.
He's getting in, he got out the car and walking towards us, and she closed the door and I pressed on the gas and ducked because I didn't know if he had a gun.
Derek speeds away and heads to the interstate, the passenger still in the back seat, and the white car speeds up to follow them. He asks the woman to call 911.
I hit the brakes because he pulled in front of us, hit the brakes, and he opened the door and I hit reverse to go back. And when I got far enough, and I'm asking, I'm like, who is this guy? What does he want from us? And she's like, oh, I think that's my boyfriend. And when she said that, I was like, oh, no.
She finally gets out. Derek speeds home and calls the sheriff's office. The passenger also left a set of keys with a sharp object attached. Those are now with Fort Bend County deputies. The sheriff's office commended Derek for being aware, which is one of their tips on driving safe. They also recommended that you drive to the closest law enforcement agency or populated area instead of driving home and calling 911. The dash cameras were a Christmas gift from his niece, who thought he may need them one day. And although he's safe, he's going to think twice on when and where he picks up passengers. He'll continue to drive to make ends meet.
I need to put food on my kids' table. I got to put a roof over their head. And my family, my wife.
Sherman DeSalle, Fox 26 News.
A fiery end to a week of domestic violence that police say ranged from attempted murder to not one, but at least two arsons. Fox 26's Randy Wallace has the story from Spring.
On a scale of 1 to 10, this is beyond 10.
It was like a scene out of a movie. Neighbors living near the house in the 3200 block of Lotus Blossom could do little more than pray the fire wouldn't spread. A fire investigators say 28-year-old Pablo Bustos set inside his own house.
I would never imagine he would have done that.
Police say it was the second fire Bustos allegedly set in as many days. On Tuesday, police say he set 6 fires at a house in the 1400 block of Mortimer in an attempt to kill his estranged wife. That house belonged to her parents. She called Precinct 4 on Thursday to tell them she was returning to the couple's home and was afraid Pablo would be there.
We knew how violent he was, so we actually set up our SAU team and K-9 team to come out and clear the residence.
After Bustos barricaded himself inside the home, SWAT officers arrived.
When the robot went up to try to open a door that was on the attic, he was seen by the operators on the video, and the fire had already started behind him inside the attic. So he did start the fire that engulfed the house.
We were able to start cooling the fire down while he was still inside with the ladder pipe, so nobody was put into any harm's way with him.
Bustos crawled out a window and was apprehended. His house is gone, but he didn't appear to suffer any serious injuries.
While it was happening, it looked more and more that it was not going to end that way.
Celebratory gunfire, a problem again year after year. Now a 3-year-old girl came close to having a bullet claim her life. Fox 26's Gabby Hart spoke with that family.
Well, imagine celebrating 2023 when a bullet comes crashing onto the patio where everyone's dancing and then slams into a bedroom window. On the other side of that window were children watching television, that bullet coming straight through the TV they were watching, and it didn't stop there. It then went over their heads and lodged itself into the wall right above their headboard.
A bullet went in the house, and we were just like, what? And then she's like, look, and as soon as she pointed here.
Yesenia Martinez and her relatives were celebrating the new year at the family home on Necar Street near Airline Drive. But around 12:30 a.m., their celebration took a scary turn.
A lot of people could have been killed last night. Yeah. Only because I had a couple of aunts and uncles sitting literally right in front. I had my mom dancing.
A bullet came flying through the backyard fence. It whisked past people dancing on the patio and then crashed into a bedroom window.
Right here, sitting up. So we had a young lady in here with her, and she was like, she seen that my daughter was yawning, and she's like, hey, if you want, you can lay down. So she laid her down right here. You're being shy.
And it's a good thing Yesenia's 3-year-old daughter decided to lay down, because just minutes later, that bullet flew right over her head.
Had she been sitting up, that would have been right to the head. I don't like to think about it, but...
Yesenia says deputies told her that shot may have been fired from a rifle. The bullet lodged into the wall above the bed. On the other side of that wall was a living room filled with people sitting directly in that bullet's path. All of that, and miraculously, no one was injured.
Before it happened, everybody just kind of started moving around because we were all here.
Yesenia says luck has nothing to do with it.
Thank God.
Just before the new year, her family said a prayer of protection for 2023. And she believes that prayer is what kept her baby girl and her family out of harm's way.
We had just prayed, and 30 minutes into the new year, this happens.
Do you think that prayer might have been what protected you?
Definitely. We have a lot of faith, and that's something we think, like, God started kind of shifting everybody out the way and just ducked my baby down right on time.
Just before the new year, city officials and first responders warned people about the dangers of firing guns into the air, also letting them know it's illegal. While we were recording, we heard numerous gunshots fired in the area, despite law enforcement being close by.
And we caught the Harris County Sheriff's Department out investigating the neighbors that live directly behind that family's home. Of course, as soon as we learn more about this investigation, we will let you know. But again, another reminder of why you should not participate in celebratory gunfire. I'm Gabby Hart, Fox 26 News. As celebratory gunfire goes off.
Just unbelievable. Well, 2 people are dead after a shooting in a neighborhood in Humble. Investigators are looking for multiple family members. Fox 26's Sherman DeStell has more.
Yeah, neighbors are still in shock and reacting to what they saw and heard earlier today, but they say this incident is not the beginning of this rift between these two groups. It's a dispute between families that started way before this incident.
It's a shame that you see kids, people are out of school. Anybody else, that gunfire could have hit anybody, could have hit a house, and so it's a scary situation.
Friday afternoon, home surveillance video shows 3 young men shouting towards a black sedan across the street in a Canyon Village at Park Lakes neighborhood. Residents say the sedan leaves the scene and returns. Then gunshots are heard on the corner of Water Edge Point Lane near Park Square Lane. One neighbor called police while trying to assist the 2 men pictured here after they were shot. No arrests have been made.
So it's probably multiple guns at least, or at least a couple guns that were utilized. So again, we always depend on our public, our community, as they always do, to step forward and help us fill in the gaps.
County deputies say 2 of the victims died at the scene, while a 3rd victim was sent to the hospital in critical condition. Neighbors say it's a rift between 2 families that started at a nearby store where some of them worked together. A former co-worker is in shock.
I tried to talk to him. I tried to tell him, hey, some things, man, just let it go. I knew this was going to come too. I knew it. And it's just like, if you know something was going to happen and you feel like you didn't do enough to prevent it, that's how I feel.
So again, the Harris County Sheriff's Office is hoping that people share whatever information they have about this shooting, particularly surveillance video, to help them piece together who's responsible. If you have that type of information or anything that can lead to an arrest in this case, contact the County Sheriff's Office or Crime Stoppers. Reporting from Humble, Sherman DeSalle, Fox 26 News.
A murder-suicide rocked the community of Spring this week. Police say a mother took the life of her child. Here's reporter Matthew Seedorf.
Such a sad situation. A mother and her 6-year-old daughter found dead here today. 2 teenagers making the gruesome discovery. Authorities in North Harris County now investigating a possible murder-suicide. A mother shooting and killing her 6-year-old daughter, then turning the gun on herself.
The 6-year-old had just celebrated a birthday this December, so it's just very sad to see some of those remnants still in the home of that recent birthday.
I got here as soon as I could, and he's like, my dad, my mom's dead. I can't believe it.
Eddie Wadesma, the woman's ex-common-law husband. Their son, a high school student, finding his mother and young half-sister Tuesday afternoon shot dead in a bedroom. How's your son doing?
He's hurt. He called me and he told me, Dad, I need you right now. I need you right now.
Authorities believe the murder-suicide happened Monday night, but the mother and daughter weren't discovered dead until Tuesday in the home off Vernal Glen Circle.
They believe that mom was just asleep and had turned in earlier and again had been going through a hard time lately.
Sheriff Ed Gonzalez says the mother in her 40s had been going through custody issues with an ex over her 6-year-old daughter.
Depression's a real thing. It could be minimal, it could be more serious. It could be caused by a lot of things, and we always remind our people to seek resources, seek information.
The sheriff says they were called to this home only one other time, but it was for a civil matter, nothing physical. Reporting on the north side, Matthew Seedorf, Fox 26 News.
An Excon is free from jail on a total of 31 felony bonds that exceeded more than $1 million. Randy Wallace says this man has the most bonds of any defendant he's ever seen.
I've never seen someone who's out on a total of 31 felony bonds.
You can't blame 24-year-old Joshua Gabriel Ortiz Lopez for choosing freedom over a jail cell. It's some Harris County Criminal District Court judges who see no problem with granting a convicted felon 31 felony bonds.
$1,160,000 total bonds on 8 felonies since 2019.
Ortiz Lopez's felony charges include engaging in organized criminal activity, arson, retaliation, and possession of body armor by a convicted felon.
I've seen his bond revoked on one case 4 times, on another case 4 times. And they keep reinstating it, and he keeps getting back out, and he keeps reoffending, and they keep putting him back out.
While out on bond, Ortiz Lopez has racked up 7 new felony charges and was convicted of felony theft in Montgomery County.
If public safety is your primary goal, to keep the public safe from an offender like him, it's not happening.
We went to the Northwest Harris County home that Ortiz Lopez claims as his address to the bonding company. Joshua doesn't live here anymore, correct?
No, he doesn't live there anymore.
I dare anybody out there who's watching this, if you think you can top 31 felony bonds, call me, call you, contact us.
Randy Wallace, Fox 26 News.
A pretty violent start to the new year in the Houston area, but as Fox 26's Natalie He explains, Houston police are sharing good news about 2022.
While Houston begins 2023 with a violent start, with one man shot to death in southwest Houston, another woman stabbed to death in Clear Lake, and multiple other shooting investigations underway, overall homicides are down about 8% from last year. As of last Friday, December 30th, there were 433 homicides year to date, compared to 473 the same time in 2021 and 400 in 2020. Of those homicide cases, 69% were resolved last year, compared to 55% in 2021 and 52% in 2020.
We've tried to get a better focus on homicide division.
Douglas Griffith serves as the president of the Houston Police Officers Union. He says in order to keep the trend, investigators need the public's help and more officers on the streets.
If you see something, you got to let us know, especially these homicide cases. You'll know we'll go into a neighborhood and they're not going to talk to us because, they don't want to be the snitch. But that's the way we gain information. That's the way we clear cases. You only have 5,000 officers for a city this size. That's a real problem. Chicago has 11,000 officers for half the square miles, but about 250,000 more people.
Until the department's recruiting numbers improve, his advice to people who want to stay safe in the new year is to remain vigilant.
You have to be aware of your surroundings. Make sure no one's following you. Pay attention when you're walking to the car. Stay off your phone. Be aware of what's around you. That helps a lot of this because they are going to pick on the weakest link. That's what criminals do. They prey on those that are weak or not paying attention.
Last month, HPD announced it will be offering all cadets up to $10,000 in incentive pay to join the department. The bonus will apply to cadets through June of 2024. From HPD headquarters, Natalie He, Fox 26 News.
And I'm Caroline Collins. That is this week's Fox 26 Crime Files.